Hey everybody, hope you guys are healthy and safe. So I'm at the Hong Kong launch of the Samsung Galaxy A52 5G, which I have here. Now this is a new mid-tier device from Samsung, and it sells for around 520 US dollars. That's the price equivalent in Hong Kong, also in Europe. This one's also going to sell in the US and probably South Korea too. So what are you getting from the A52 5G for around 500 bucks? You have a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display, 120 refresh rate, and resolution is 2400 by 1080. Around the back, you have a quad camera system. It's a quad camera system headlined by a 64 megapixel main camera with OIS f1.8 aperture, a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and a pair of 5 megapixel sensors for depth and macro. So as usual, the pair of 5 megapixel sensors, they're not that useful, but the main camera and the ultra wide angle camera, at least so far from what I've been able to see, it's pretty solid. You know, it's above average for a mid-tier offering. Now this back, unfortunately, is plastic, it's not glass, but Samsung has applied this coating that makes it feel quite nice. It doesn't feel cheap, it doesn't feel plasticky, it's quite grippy, it's quite matte. And I like the overall feel of this phone too. It weighs 193 grams, so it's not too heavy. And I like the blocky design without the sharp corners. You know how a Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, the corners are really sharp, so when I hold the phone, it actually it's not comfortable because it's poking on my palm. I don't get that with this phone because the corners are a little bit rounded, but I like the overall blocky look. It's kind of like blocky like the iPhone 12 without all the sharp edges. Overall, construction is pretty premium. This phone is IP67 water and dust resistance. It supports SD cards up to 1 terabyte, and you get a headphone jack too. Oh, and you have stereo speakers. So you might be thinking right now, this display doesn't look too amazing, but you gotta keep in mind right now I'm shooting outside on a heavily overcast day. So I think most displays under the premium flagship level is gonna struggle in this situation. But when you step inside, you give it a little bit of shade. When it's indoors at night, the screen looks really damn good. You know, it's a Samsung panel, and Samsung makes the best displays on the market. Now this phone runs a Snapdragon 750G paired with 8 gigs of RAM. These are the Geekbench score if you care about that. I've only been using the phone for about 20 minutes. So far, I haven't experienced any lags. The UI is really smooth, really fluid. Almost just like a Samsung Galaxy flagship. I mean, 120 Hz refresh rate. And as the name implies, this phone also supports 5G. So if you don't want 5G, if you live in an area that don't have 5G, you might as well get the Samsung Galaxy A52, the standard 4G model, because it's about 100 US dollars cheaper, and you're getting almost the same thing, except the screen drops down to 90 Hz refresh rate, which is still really good, and the processor drops from 750G here to 720G, but I don't think you're gonna notice too big of a difference. The battery inside is 4,500 milliamp hours, so I'm expecting above average battery life. Like Samsung is saying, is you're gonna get 2 days battery life from this. I highly doubt you're gonna get 2 days battery life from a phone with a 120 Hz panel. So I'm thinking for me, a heavy user, I can probably use this phone an entire 14-hour day and not have to worry about the phone running out of battery. But there's no way this phone's gonna last 2 days for me, at least in my opinion. So this is not a review by any means. I've only been testing the phone for about 20 minutes, but overall, this is a pretty solid above average mid-tier device. Now, for me, living in Hong Kong where I have access to a lot of good budget phones from Xiaomi, Realme, stuff like that, is the A52 5G the best value offering? Hell no, of course not. But this phone's selling in South Korea and in the US. Both of those countries don't really sell Chinese phones. So when you live in those countries, you don't have a lot of options. So when you're living in the US and you want to buy a phone, but you don't want to spend $1,000, then this 520 US dollar Galaxy A52 5G is probably one of the best offerings you're gonna get. You're getting more for your money than say the iPhone SE, for example. Now, of course, if you live in Europe, if you live in Southeast Asia, you have a little bit more options. Then this is probably just among one of the better options, but not the best option. So anyway, that's about it for this quick first look at the Galaxy A52 5G. I have a lot more content coming up. It's a really busy month. Expect videos on the Vivo X60 Pro and a couple of Xiaomi devices, Poco devices, and a bunch of other stuff I can't talk about yet, but I have a lot coming. So if you're interested in keeping up to date with all the latest gadgets, please subscribe to my channel or follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Reviews. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.